I'd like to call one of my colleagues, Ms. Diksha Lala, to open the ceremony for us. Diksha, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mwabisi. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome you to the Young Professional Seminar. A special welcome to our students who have joined us for this event and for taking the time to invest in your career journey. I'm certain that you will gain more than you bargained for with the speakers that we have lined up for you today. And with that, I'd also like to welcome our guest speakers who have so willingly agreed to share from their vast knowledge with the next generation of our graduates. And also final welcome to my colleagues from the counseling team who makes all of this possible today. So for students, I hope that you'll be inspired to overcome every obstacle that comes your way and to stretch your horizons, to achieve and to become all that you're meant to be. With that, I now leave you in the capable hands of our program director. Over to you, Mr. May.
Thanks a lot, Diksha. That was short and sweet and highly appreciated. We are all about saving time, and the time that we usually save, we actually use it for questions and answers after presentations. So we appreciate that, Diksha. Thank you very much. We will now go to the purpose of the day. I'd like to please help me welcome our head of counseling, Dr. Punki Pitwane, who will be delivering the purpose of the day today. Dr. P.
Good morning and thank you, Mwabisi, our program director for today, and our honorable colleagues, guests, alumni and students. A very good morning to you. I've been tasked to talk on the purpose of our seminar being the Young Professional Seminar. The Young Professional Seminar was birthed by our own analysis in the Directorate for Counselling and Career Development based on the challenges that our students are facing or even have faced since it happened some years ago. This became apparent from our interaction with our students during our own one-on-one counseling sessions that our students are actually struggling during examinations, and especially in a case of their final year, they experience fear of failure, they experience lots of uncertainties about what has in store for them. The challenges facing our students ranges inter alia from the fear of facing exams, anxiety of not knowing where they are adequately prepared for their exams, etc. In some cases, there are students who reach a level of anxiety that pushes them to the verge of giving up and eventually dropping out of their studies. In other instances, there are students who are pushed to depression because of these anxieties. As a result of these challenges, the DCCD, being the Directorate for Counselling and Career Development, has committed itself to host the Young Professional Seminar on an annual basis. The seminars are targeted at Unisa final year students, both at an undergraduate and postgraduate level. We make young professional seminars attractive to our students deliberately, inviting our own alumni, graduates, to address our students. Our approach in this instance is to target our alumni who have been through this journey as the students. And these alumni that we are targeting, who will be presenting, of course, they have succeeded in their journey in an Odell institution despite the challenges that they were confronted with while they were studying, while they were students. So we expect them to share their stories of success. Yes, the challenges would be there, but the success that will motivate our students to forge on and never give up in their journey as the students of Unisa. And of course, there are motivational speakers that are also invited to motivate you as students so that you would be able to forge forward and make sure that you complete your studies. And at the end of our event, we normally have got and evaluation that we share with you so that we can be able to improve our services and build up on the feedback that you would have shared with us. As such, we would really appreciate if you can respond and guide us and comment on what we can do better to improve the seminars going forward for those who will be coming after you. And to sum it up, these seminars build confidence in our students and restore the hopes of those who may have lost hope. I trust and believe that our students who have joined in today, they will leave the space motivated and having gained hope that they can do it despite all the challenges that they may be facing or they have faced. And on that note, good luck, and I hope that you will enjoy this well-organized seminar. Back to you, Program Director. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. P. Thank you very much, Mama. That was motivational. Thank you, ma'am. As Dr. P has alluded, that this program is offered for final year students, both under and postgraduates. So we are really hoping that with the lineup we have today, you will be able to grasp as much as you can. Okay, and I also have something else to address before we actually commence by inviting speakers to come through. Those of you who usually attend our workshops know that as program director, I usually show my face throughout the whole program, but today I had technical problems, so I'm actually using my phone. So if it happens that my sound is not as clear as it usually is, I apologize for that. I'm just having issues with my network. I hope that is clear. First, another thing, we need to address house rules. I know that most of your microphones and videos are muted. Don't worry about that. We will give you a platform to ask questions. That's when we'll be able to unmute you. So you need not despair in that regard. Okay. I love the fact that we are actually on time. So I'll do my best to keep it as such. Our first speaker is Ms. Riabe Tumolapo, who will be touching on entrepreneurship and basically motivating all our young professionals for the day. Let me just check for Ms. Molapo if she's in, then she can actually deliver her presentation. Ms. Molapo, are you in?
I'm in, sir. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. The floor is yours. Good morning to you.
Morning. Thank you. Good morning to everyone. So as introduced, first of all, thank you so much from the Unisa Young Professionals team for organizing this. When I was a student at Unisa, I really wished that we had this opportunity. But yeah, thank you so much for organizing. Thank you to the speakers that have spoken before me. A lot that was touched, that was spoken about, that was touched on with the respect of preparation. I think one of the things that we need to remember is that when we get into, institutions of higher learning, we need to really understand why we're there and not just to while time away. Because I think that's, one of the things is that if it's a high school and you're just in a place of, geleza, do something, and you find yourself choosing a degree or career that might not necessarily match up with your personality traits. And that's something that's quite important, and also important to have like an end in mind when you prepare. But before I go into that, let me just give you a synopsis of who I am. So I'm Rabeto Molapo. I'm an only child of single parent mother, Black. And before I got to Unisa, I was a UCT dropout. So I know all the emotions that happens. I know about the depression that was spoken about earlier that happens to you, most especially within an academical space. I know what happens when you don't believe that you have what it takes. But even when I was in Unisa, I know what it was like to fail management accounting and financial reporting quite a couple of times, as well as taxation. But I also know what it's like to go past that mental state and then be able to get out of that. Because at this point in time, I think it's next week Friday, I'll be graduating from a different business school. So in as much as you go through phases and elements where you feel like you can't anymore, where you feel like you lack support, I do believe that it's quite important for you as a young professional, as a undergraduate student, or even a postgraduate student, to find out and to find ways of getting yourself the necessary support, whether it be through mentor in the academic space, but also as well as a mentor within the career space that you wish to be in. So yes, I am going to get my PGDip from Henley Business School. So that's one of the schools that I've attended. And I've also done a course in social entrepreneurship from Gibbs. There, I got a scholarship from the FIX scholarship. And funny enough, the FIX scholarship is now a client of mine that we are, helping with strategy. So what I also want you as a young professional or a young student to kind of bear in mind and to understand is the importance of planning and strategy. But not only that, the importance of whatever phase that you go through, you need to have an element of consistency, but always have a curious mind, because sometimes you'll get into an institution, get into a program, having an end in mind. I had my end in mind was to become a chartered accountant, and I'm nowhere there, and I don't plan to be anywhere there. So in the process of studying, you're going to meet up with people that A, either inspire you, or B, just kind of enlighten your mind on the value chain within the degree that you're in. Because sometimes what happens is, going back to what I mentioned, is you register for a course having an end in mind, or maybe you saw somebody that did a certain degree and you find your personality traits, your strengths don't match up to that. Like for me, I remember when I was at UCT, I was doing a BCom in accounting, and I set up a meeting with the accounting lecturer because I was fed up with that thing. I was registered with numerous societies like the UCT Radio, as well as the Black Management Forum, as well as Investstock. So I was in a number of leadership positions, and someone could say that they easily distracted me, but another person could say that those are the very things that helped me realize what my deepest passion is, and that is human development, developing people, developing people's mindsets, helping people in general. And that's how I got into shifting from the accounting space into the business space, but more so the entrepreneurship space. For me, the passion of entrepreneurship comes in with the current stats that we're also finding, with where you find that in South Africa and Africa at large, we have a huge bulk, a huge stat of young people, millennials, as I call it, hence I'm called a millennial consultant. About 60% of the population consists of these people. Who are these people? How are they? And another thing that we find about them is that a majority of them are unemployed, whether it be whether they've dropped out, they fall in that statistics, whether they are graduated without, forms of employment. And that then becomes interesting, or an interesting wicked problem, as somebody might say. But then how do we solve this problem? So if we get into a degree having the end in mind that Rabeto is going to register for a BCom accounting degree with an expectation that at the end of the degree, she's going to get formal employment. Unfortunately, our economical standing is that the amount of students that graduate versus the jobs available don't measure up. And so do we mean that at that point in time, that individual needs to be sitting at home doing nothing? And that's why it's important to groom and what I would call an entrepreneurial mindset. So in as much as there is entrepreneurship, which is about solving a problem, meeting a need, and obviously pricing it, putting it at a price, it is also important for us to remember to have an entrepreneurial mindset, which for me is having an innovative mindset, having a solution-orientated mindset, which means that whether or not I'm placed in a job, or whether or not I do get a job, even within that space, even within that job, I will be solution-oriented. Whether I'm in government, whether I'm in the private sector, whether I'm in an SOE, I need to have that element within me that is about solving problems, because at the end of the day, that's what a job is about. It's not just about paying bills. And so that's why, for me, entrepreneurship becomes an important element, an important aspect for us to kind of dive into and get into. The current economical standing forces the young African to become entrepreneurial, to develop entrepreneurial mindset as a key skill. I know that later on there will be a speaker that also speaks on digital skills, and that's also another key element that we need to, as you're planning your academic career, or as you're working in your academic career, figure out what are the added skills that will help you match up to the current demands in the market. And you then need to make sure that you build yourself up and build your portfolio up to meet those needs. It is essential for us as a young people of Africa to begin to be equipped and to understand the current changes that are occurring within the career space, as well as the job specs that your employer or even your client expects you to have. So even let's say if you're registered with a marketing degree, it might be important for you to have digital marketing as an added skill, because that's literally where the demand is. So the question would then be for us as individuals is, perhaps it's not a question of jobs lacking. Perhaps it's a question of whether our skills are matching what the current demand in the market is. I remember attending a breakfast where the CEO of Accenture was a part of, and one of the things he mentioned was that at this point in time, Accenture, yes, is a tech company, but obviously they do other things like strategy and development for their clients. And he mentioned that one of their clients was Discovery. So he says that a majority of their tech human capital actually comes from like India and China. And yet at this point, they're trying to make sure that they're equipping enough young South Africans and young Africans to be able to play that role. Because when they're importing talent from India or China, the pricing, it's like they're paying an extremely high price. Whereas our people, you find that you are graduated with an HR degree, and it doesn't match up to the current demands in the market. And these are some of the things that we need to consider, whether or not you're going to go in and step in as an employee or as a consultant, for example. And that's why it's important for us to figure out and to research what careers are out there, what's the value chain, as I say, of the employment, but also the entrepreneurial space, of the business space. If you're going to be within the logistics space, find out and research the value chain and where you might be able to fit in, because you might be able to fit in as an employee, or you might be able to fit in as an enterprise and an entity. The current need for entrepreneurship in South Africa is very vast, because if we then begin businesses, we're then able to have the capacity to employ. And that's something that's very, something that I'm personally quite passionate about. And we need to be able to be flexible and agile to the new currency, which I would say is the agility quotient. So when we look at the future and the past employment, world, we're looking at freelancing growing as a growing trend. And freelancing would basically mean that you're self-employed. And that's why you would need to have the basic skills of how to then run an entity, not just be skilled in your trade. So if you were to be freelanced as a digital analyst, for example, yes, you need to be able to know how to do the technical and be technically orientated, but you would also need to be enabled to know how to run that as an actual business. You would need to have the basic entrepreneurial skills of how to clinch a client, of how to negotiate pricing, of how to package yourself, but also package your business. You would need to be able to understand how pricing and costing works. You would need to be able to understand how to retain clients as well, because it's one thing to get a client, it's another thing to retain a client, and it's very difficult. And you also need to be thinking about the opportunity costs. I remember having a session with one of my coaches, and she was asking me, Rebetse, how much are you actually making in your business? I was like, yeah, it's not much, eh? And in that conversation, she then said that, well, you need to be thinking about the opportunity cost. You are quite an intellectual individual. You've got a very nice CV that you could easily get a job, like your friends who are currently, young professionals in the corporate space. So you need to always look about and think about the opportunity cost of you being self-employed or being an entrepreneur versus getting into the corporate world and figuring out, if I'm earning or if I'm making so much in my business, if it's too little for me to sustain myself, you're constantly thinking about the opportunity cost. But in thinking about the opportunity cost, you then need to be thinking about re-strategizing your business. Perhaps the clients that you're looking for aren't your actual clients. And that's why you always need to constantly be asking yourself questions of, am I fitting in, or am I in the right space, in the right time? Am I actually seeking at the right client? Perhaps my client is not an individual. Perhaps my client is not a small business enterprise. Perhaps my client is a corporate. Perhaps my client is a government entity. Perhaps my client is not even local. Perhaps my client is an international entity or international individuals. So, and that would then assist you in how you position yourself, how you position your business, and whether or not it's able to speak to that particular client, and whether or not your service or your product meets their needs. I'm currently looking at the time, and in conclusion, what I'd like to say is that I believe that the young South Africans and young Africans are able to solve some of the pertinent issues that we have today. Like mentioned, one of the key things is youth unemployment. And one of the things that I would advocate, and I always advocate for, is entrepreneurship. But we need to begin to understand that entrepreneurship is different from tenderpreneur, is different from also like being within the business space, like being a business person and being an entrepreneur, two different things. You could easily be in the business space by just meeting a need. Entrepreneurship is about problem solving and making sure that you're able to price that solution at a fair value. So, and also we need to remember that you could be an entrepreneur as a scientist, as a doctor. You could be an entrepreneur as a human resource individual. So it fits into any career space, and it's mostly about having a particular mindset. It's important for us as young people to awaken our curiosity. It's important for us, for young people, to discover, but most importantly, to create the future. We're all angry at what is happening in our country today. We're all angry at what is happening in the political space. And I do believe that through entrepreneurship, especially now, I'm talking to intellectuals, I believe that the biggest power that we have here in South Africa, here in Africa, is our intellectual capacity. If we're able to package that, if we're able to use our intellect, if we're able as young people with our degrees to use those degrees to solve the problems that we find in society today, then that is literally how we'd be able to break from the shackles of poverty, to break up the shackles of socioeconomic inequalities, to break from the shackles of corruption, to break from the shackles of undermining ourselves. At this point in time, I'm literally telling you that the magnifying glass within America, Europe, all these other countries is upon Africa. Our competitive advantage is the problems that we have. Having the problems that we have means that there's so much more solutions and so much money that can be pumped into the country and the continent. And that's question relies on us as young people, is whether or not we're going to take on the calling to become entrepreneurs. With these words, I thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ms. Mulapo. That was quite insightful and very informative, and you motivated a lot of us. Thank you, ma'am. And thank you for sticking to time. You have reserved at least 2 minutes for us. Okay. Now I'll be opening the platform for any questions. Now, this is how it's going to happen. If you have a question, you're just going to raise your hand. Then my technical producer will unmute you. Then we'll call you out. Then you can ask your question. Any questions for Ms. Molapo before she departs? I see one hand there. Let me see whose hand is it. Okay, Elsie, let me see. Okay, I've just unmuted you. You can actually ask your question. The floor is yours, Elsie.
Thank you so much. I just want to know, obviously, entrepreneurship is a very useful skill and a very useful career choice in these times. But obviously, with entrepreneurship comes investment. So how can you I think the mindset that a lot of us have is that if you want to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to make a lot of investments, and that's why we often shy away from it, because we don't always have the investments to make. So how can we get out of that mindset, and how can we still push for the entrepreneurship even without the investments?
Thank you, Elsie, for the question. So the challenging thing with entrepreneurship, especially let's say as a young person, what I've noticed throughout my journey was you'd find that you'd have this so-called brilliant idea, right? And that brilliant idea would require so much capital, which I assume is the investment that you're speaking about. But obviously, remember, investment wouldn't only be in the form of financial capital. It will also be time. I mean, it's not easy to think about running a business enterprise and not making money. I remember, so I also host like these book review sessions with authors. So on Saturday last week, we had a guest. His name is Mushambi Mutumba, and he's in the tech space. And he told us that it took about 8 years for him to even pay himself a salary in his business. And these are some of the real elements, the real challenges that young entrepreneurs would be facing, to say, okay, you'd start a business, even if it's not something huge that requires so much money, but it would require some sort of money that you don't, I mean, already you can't afford life in itself. And here you're starting this enterprise, you're starting this idea, you want to run with it, you require these resources. But so what I've realized with investors, whether it is, like angel investors or venture capitalists, even though we throw around these large names, but for lack of a better word, even if it's just like a investment from a friend or a family, they want to see traction, right? So I think a lot of the times we wait for something big to happen. We wait for like a eureka moment. And sometimes it's important for us, especially as young people, to start where we are with what we have. I know that we might tend to undermine that, but your phone and your laptop is a really good resource. And sometimes those are resources that you might just need from the get-go. And if it means that within a year you're not able to get like an income, but creating or having attraction means that you're able to test your solution at some point. And that's what sometimes investors would want to see, that you might not have made a profit, but were you able to get clients? Were you able to were you able to get clients? Were you able to render that service? Were you able, if let's say you were doing nails, for example? And I think we always think about the big stuff, but sometimes we need to start small and use that small scale and scale up. So, there's also this thing called starting a business lean or lean business. And that is literally running a business with the bare minimum. If you're able to have an idea and run a business with the bare minimum and be able to, from that, scale up, then that's the best way, because once that you have something to prove that, hi, I've invested so much time and effort into this thing. And then the other person that will coming in with the money would be saying, yeah, actually, I can see the hours that you've put in. I can see the effort that you've put in your own business. Therefore, I believe if you believe in the product or the service, I would then be able to match up that investment. The problem with us sometimes is we have these huge ideas. We want to take over and we want to start a business in a mall, and we don't even know how much rental in a mall costs. And then it's like we're shooting ourselves in the foot. We can't afford even the deposit, and then we can't sustain the business. So if we're able to start whatever businesses that we have in a lean manner, if it means running your office from home, do that. Don't have too much pride on, oh, what are people going to say? I mean, anyway, with COVID, people are working from home either way. So just lean business, lean ideas, and then you scale up from that.
I hope you are answered, Elsie.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Rebetwe. I see there's no other question for you. Ma'am, thank you for your time. We appreciate your participation, and we appreciate you coming through to motivate our students. Thank you very much. Have a lovely day further. I'm not quite sure if you're going to stick around or you probably have more work to do, but thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, as we proceed with our program, according to my producers, it turns out that our next speaker was supposed to be touching on technology and 4IR, Mr. Bohoba, is actually struggling to join in. I don't know if he finally got through. Mr. Bohoba, are you here?
Good day. Yes, I do confirm I am here.
Thank you, Media. You can have the stage. The floor is yours. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. It's funny that I'm having a challenge relating to the same issue that I'm going to be talking about today. Good morning to everyone. My name is Thabang Joy Bohopa. I am currently a master's candidate specializing in forensic science, police science, and technology at the University of South Africa. And I'm also the director of Nabi Innovative Projects and Consultant, which is my own startup company. And yeah, so currently I just want to talk about technology and the fourth IR, which is a topic that I've spoken a lot about and I'm willing to share. So for today, what I will do is that I will be student focused. I will focus more on students so that at the end of the presentation, people understand actually what I was talking about. To start with, the fourth IR is a very different concept. Just to explain, people confuse the fourth industrial revolution with the third industrial revolution. In the third industrial revolution, that's when we were speaking about the computers and just using the basic laptops, using basic internet. That was the third industrial revolution. And now when we're speaking about the fourth industrial revolution, now we are speaking about integration of the various technologies, as well as bridging the digital space and the physical space. We know that in the third industrial revolution, when you are on a computer, it's like you're doing your computer things. You couldn't match what you do physically and what you do online. You also couldn't match doing exams. If you do exams, you normally just go and do your exams by writing them. So now with fourth industrial revolution, we also talk about sensors. In terms of sensors, if you have a new idea, but that idea still needs a human being to implement, then you must know that your idea is still far from the fourth industrial revolution. And why am I mentioning this? I'm mentioning this because that becomes an entrepreneurial opportunity for our students currently. If you check, be diagnostic sensors that can diagnose whether you are, if you go to your treadmills, they will tell you whether your heart rate is well, whether you are running at the right pace, and whether you are performing as you are supposed to do. Diagnostic also goes to your motor vehicles, your new cars, when they can tell you that there's a potential for an accident. Also, diagnostic sticks to when your car tells you that the front left wheel has a puncture or has a potential of a puncture. So all those issues are related to fourth IR. But now the challenges, I need to speak to the challenges. Currently, we have a lot of students that are unfortunately still having family challenges, what we call geosocial issues. The family background, how they stay, network connectivity at home, and all those problems. All those issues mentioned affect whether one could access. But then let's look at some of the opportunities that exist. What we call gig hustling using technology. I think in the fourth industrial revolution, or just for me, during COVID-19, I have more than 5 jobs. And all those 5 jobs were paying me at the end of the month. And it was because at that time, there were very few people who were actually ready to do anything online. So I'm a youth developer and I'm also a facilitator and assessor as well as a moderator. So when you go into the post-school education and training sector, even our own lectures, they were not ready to facilitate or to impart knowledge using technology. And that's when I made money. And I'm still saying that it's even easier for more people to make money in this fourth industrial revolution using technology. Let's look at TikTok. How many people are currently utilizing TikTok? We call them influencers, but if you check, those people are not seated at home crying about unemployment. So those are some of the opportunities that we could tap into. And I think during the week, we've seen Senior Advocate Dalim Pofu representing the former public protector from the comfort of his home in Parliament. So that's why you see that there's a variety and diversity of technological gadgets which you could sell, which you could install for people, and which you could just go around training people. If you go to, let's say, the University of South Africa in Gauteng, just Sunnyside campus, and you would be shocked how many lecturers would appreciate training just about going live and having clearer videos and having all that. So someone who's unemployed, because I'm speaking to students here, you could tap into that market and make money. Also, we're speaking about drones. Currently, we've seen that we have drones that can actually supply medical gadgets or medical products. Instead of sick people just having to go and queue for medical assistance, currently we have drones which are used for that. So also now we have people who love nice things. Drones are there for that. You could actually use drones for events, use drones for weddings, and also use drones just to capture indoor activities. I'm currently attending the Entrepreneurs Lekgotla here in Port Elizabeth. But if you were to have a mobile small drone that does not make sound, that does not affect the proceedings, you could actually use it to capture everything that's happening here. Instead of the live event just showing people as they are speaking at the front, you could actually use the drone to give someone a real feeling of what's actually happening.
Mr. Bukuma, I'm sorry to disturb you, my good sir. Can you please adjust the angle? Yeah, camera
How is it?
Maybe let me see. Because it's like you're upside down.
Oh. Okay, no, can be like this. I'm upside down.
Yeah, I think you need to turn it into the left at least a bit.
Okay, can I just attempt to tilt it?
Yes, just try it.
Thanks. And I apologize for that because I'm in another session, so I just had to request to break out. Am I better?
It's actually on the other side now.
Am I
Much
better?
Yes, it's perfect. Thank you, Mr. Bafova.
Okay, thank you so much. This has disturbed me. So I have to declare the laptop that I was supposed to use is just not going live. So I'm using my mobile device. However, I will do my best. Thank you so much. So as I proceed, I'm saying that technology could assist students. Currently, we have a high unemployment rate. The high unemployment rate also looking at the 68% dropout rate. Now, if you look at the 68% dropout rate, is a challenge in South Africa because if we're losing so many students who can't complete their qualifications, it's a challenge. But now, it is possible for someone to still tap in back into the market. Because fourth industrial revolution and technologies allow for someone to do what we call self-development and self-establishment. So someone could go and learn a new skill. That's one subset of skill that you know that it's needed almost everywhere. Let me just give an example. Someone could just sit down and learn how to draw logos, professional logos. Most of these startup companies will need such logos. And actually, the student in that process will maximize profit. So I'm saying in fourth industrial revolution, there's opportunities that could be tapped into without student actually relying on being employed. The problem of employment is that even University of South Africa, big as it is, it actually honestly can't accommodate all of us. Even if we were to graduate cum laude, it can't. Even the government itself, if you just look at the 380 students at Unisa to close to 450, even government can't take us all. Perhaps even the private sector might not be able to employ all of us. But then if we ourselves, wherever we are able to commercialize some of the smallest opportunities. Currently, I think all companies deserve what we call a social media manager, someone who could update their social media every day to make sure that they get customers. So even if you didn't study marketing, but you are so good with Facebook, you are so good with Twitter, you are so good with Instagram, you are so good with TikTok, you could actually utilize that to your advantage and then start making money from it, just managing social media profiles for people. Also, The fact that you are from South Africa, for people who don't know, gives you high accolades in Africa and other countries globally. If you go and seek employment in certain countries, the fact that you studied in South Africa, especially in Africa, the mere fact that you are an alumni of Unisa, put you as one of the best candidates, regardless of your performance and regardless of your overall score. The mere fact that you have a qualification from Unisa, some universities, especially in Africa, and employers will prefer you other than other candidates. In as much as in South Africa, other employers prefer other candidates. So what I'm saying to students is that utilize this to your opportunity. In 4th IR, using technology, having vlogging kits, making sure that you have at least a good device, making sure you update your LinkedIn, apply for jobs even outside of South Africa. That will work for you. And also, you can have more than one job. You are not limited to one job. There's a lot of jobs that you can do. And now with 4th IR technologies, another issue that's on my presentation is about some of the services. You can actually have softwares. If you are running your own company, you can have a software for HR. You can have a software for legals that guides you about all this legal compliance. You can even have a software when you want to hire a person. You just utilize the software, you give it the requirements, it will shortlist for you and give you the best 10 candidates. And then that also will help stop what we call when we've seen people hiring their favorites even though they don't qualify. So there's more that you can do. Also consulting. In 4th IR, you can consult in whatever that you are good at. An environmentalist could go and consult in terms of the tech that's currently relevant to environmental. A nurse, a doctor, and all these other professions. You can actually, all these positive comments have forced me to stop. So, but thank you for the comments. So you can actually commercialize the little knowledge that you have. And I want to share a secret. Most people are not aware that your first year modules, first year, are actually the ones that you can use for business. Your first year, just that little knowledge you got in your first year, you can go and commercialize that knowledge. And in that way, we won't be complaining about unemployment, but then also perhaps as a pledge is that the 4th IR must not be used to sideline some of the people who are still trying to adjust. People who are in rural areas where there's no Wi-Fi's, we now have Wi-Fi extenders. You could actually purchase 50 of those and sell them to other people. I don't think if you go and sell it to any lecturer, there's no lecturer who wants to go offline because of load shedding. But then if you could sell those things, people will buy them. If you sell vlogging kits, if you sell drones, if you just go now, gather money or apply for learnerships just to go and do what they call a pilot drone pilot. That will open a lot of doors for you because if you check, digitization is everywhere. Agrofarming, in mining, they want those people. And currently it's becoming a law that you must have the drone pilot license. Now, if you can quickly just get a drone pilot license, buy a drone for around 2,000 rand, in your first job, you'll recover the money you used for getting the license to be a drone pilot and also the money you used to buy the drone. And then you can be surviving as you are trying to figure out what you can do in this world. Allow me just to pause here and entertain questions. And I thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Bakhuba. We actually have one question from one of our YouTubers. It goes like this. In regards to 4IR, are we future legal practitioners supposed to be threatened by 4IR or rather be motivated by it?
Thank you so much. And the question is so relevant because I presented something related to that. You must be very inspired. Let me give you an example. If you are in Limpopo, you get a client in Cape Town, or you get a client in Gauteng North High Court, and they allow you or they grant you the access to defend your client visually, how much are you going to save on petrol? So it means that your services will be affordable. Once your service is affordable, demand and supply, the basic demand and supply says, if your service is of higher quality but affordable, you are likely to make high profit margins. So you could be based in Gauteng, Mamelodi, but you could be sitting in the CCMA in Durban representing a client. Later, you at 12 o'clock, you represent another one in Polokwane High Court. Later, you represent another one in the Labour Court or in the Supreme Court in Bloemfontein while you are sitting in the comfort of your house. During those breaks, you can cook, you can do the garden, you can check on your kids. So it is actually an advantage for all professionals, not just legal. I thank you so much.
Thank you for that, my good sir. I think we have another hand. Let me just check whose hand is it so we can unmute. Then they can ask their question. Amarobeng H. Just give us a moment so we can actually unmute you so you can ask your question. Just a moment, everyone. Let me just check with my technical directors if they were able to unmute you. Okay, I think you have been unmuted. You can actually unmute yourself on your side and ask your question, Maropeng.
Greetings, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, ma'am. You can ask your question.
Okay, I wanted to touch on this thing of I get it, before you start a business, you must have a money, like you must invest first. So I once heard someone saying that if you want to start your own business, you can go to NADA and apply for funds. For example, maybe they can give you 50,000 to start your own business. So I want to know, is it still valuable to go to NADA and ask for money, and what are the requirements? And I think the other thing, they wanted to, they give you money if you have existing business. Let me say, for example, you want to open internet cafe. It's not open already. It's not open. So you want to get money, that money to buy maybe computers, computers to start your own business and make everything running so that you can get income. I need to know the requirements that NADA wants for you to open your own business, because this thing of let me say they fund you if you have an existing business. So what about those people who want to start afresh? Where will they get those computers to run your business? Where will you get it? Like, I want to know why they don't fund those people who want to start a business afresh. Because right now you don't have money to buy laptops or computers and machines, copy machines. You don't have money. So I want to know what will happen after. Like, for example, I want to open a internet cafe business. I don't have computers. What will happen to me? And I'm unemployed. I'm still studying. Thank you.
Okay, through you, Program Director. Thank you, Marupen. I think you've raised a valid question, which I will answer briefly to respect the speaker that's coming, but I can take, I will take it over after this session with you for consultation, because my company, I do consultation. So I'll help you with consultation and getting mostly what you need. But if you are still a Unisa registered student, Unisa is having various challenges within. How I started in 2019, I entered Innovation Challenge where I won more than 100,000. that money on its own started my company. And I went on and competed in other competitions. I won money that's more than $500,000 just pitching the idea. I didn't have a single gadget. So what you need to do, you have to draft what we call a business model canvas. Have your business model canvas. It's one page. What your idea is about, what capital you need, how you'll generate income and all that. Then you start pitching these things. If you are in Tshwane, Unisa has partnered with other universities for what we call Tshwane Inter-University Challenge. The price there is 150K. I think it can push you. And there's also these other smaller ones. SAB has this, it has it, Coca-Cola has it, Telkom has it, Eskom has it. There's a lot of them. I think all municipalities have them. And then you can also enter the CEDA, CIFA, NEF. You can also enter there. What we call it is ideation. You are still at an ideation level. So you pitch your idea, you get money to go into a startup. So, of course, NYDA has various funding models, but I know that there is that, they call it starter pack. You come with an idea, they fund the idea at that level, but it's so low. The money, I think, it's very little. But then with that little money, you could go and get 1 or 2 laptops. You could speak to Abu MTN, Cell C, Vodacom, and others, because they always have redundant laptops and tablets which were never purchased. Then you tell them, can I perhaps get 5? This is my business idea. Once it makes money, I'll pay them in a contract of 12 months. Because those laptops and tablets are no longer on the market. Actually, the last thing is for them to donate them. So they could donate to you, or they could give to you, and then you have that contractual basis to say, I will pay in 12 months once the business starts running. So there's a lot of ideas that we could go around having your business functioning. And you have a very good idea, because especially in the, how do I put it, the cases and the rural areas below the urban, that's where we still need such services. And you could also run it perhaps not as a profitable idea for now, run it as a non-profit so that you get funding. Then you still get paid from the surplus, or you still get paid. Remember the NPOs that you see, Save a Child, all these big NPOs, the directors still get paid a lot of money. That would perhaps even be more than your own profit. So you need to look at it very wise. You could actually run it as a non-profit company or non-profit initiative, but you get money paid as a director or as an employee of that idea. Until when you are self-sustaining, then you can open your company for profit. Secondly, you can run that through partnerships. You could partner with schools, you could partner with other organizations to say, this is the idea I have. I could roll out this kind of program for people in the community, and then you subsidize me in this and that way. Then you know that in the future, once you have the equipment, you will profitize. Because remember, if you run the idea like that, it doesn't mean when people come and give you R1 to make a copy, they could actually give you a profit that would be above the cost of a laptop and a printer and these other things. So we need to look at the funding model. And I thank you so much, Marupeng. I will just text you immediately after this conversation. Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Bohopa. That was a lovely presentation, and thank you for sharing that information with our students regarding funding.
Thank you.
Regarding
Can
funding,
I just apologize for not sharing my presentation? I was disappointed by the computer. Thank you so much.
No, it's understandable. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you. Right now, we're actually supposed to entertain more questions. However, I'm sorry to say that because of time, because now we are behind for about 5 minutes. So unfortunately, we will have to continue with the program and go to our success story from Ms. Khopotso Lebepe, who will be sharing a career in law with us. Hopefully, if she stays within the borders of the allocated time, then we'll have ample time for entertaining questions. I can see that there's a presentation ready for us. That's lovely. You can take the stage, Ms. Lebepe.
Thank you, Program Director. Please just kindly confirm if you can hear me and if you can see the presentation on the screen.
I can actually see and hear you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good morning, colleagues. As per the poster, my name is Khopotjo Lebepe, but we will get to soon know who Khopotjo is all about. I'd like to firstly thank the organizers of the Unisa Young Professional Seminar for the invitation. It is an honor to come here and share my journey. I would also like to thank the head of the Unisa Law Clinic, Advocate Kauda Morota, and my principal attorney, Elder Nyabasa, for allowing me to present under the Unisa Law Clinic's umbrella. I'd like to also thank each and every one of you connected through Microsoft Teams and those connected through YouTube. Thank you for the time to come here out of your schedule. I would really hope that my testimony will reignite or ignite some hope and inspire you all to continue pursuing and reaching out for your goals. And this is me continuing with my presentation. So who exactly is Khopotjo Lebepe? I am from Limpopo, born and bred in Polokwane, and currently graduated with an LLB, which is a law degree at Unisa, the University of South Africa. And I am currently an LLM master's degree candidate in property law. As some of you may or may not know, Unisa Law Clinic recently launched their clinics in Polokwane, Middelburg, and Paro. And I have the honor and privilege to be part of this beautiful initiative as a candidate attorney at the Polokwane branch. Lastly, I am the Deputy Speaker at the Unisa Northeastern Limpopo Regional Student Parliament, deployed by USA, which is the Unisa Law Student Association. Now, here is the major question. Was law always the plan? And my answer is quite simple, absolutely not. My journey started when I matriculated in 2015, and when I was done with high school, I initially wanted to study towards being a gynecologist, but my maths and my physics marks literally said no. I then took a gap year in 2016 to try and improve my marks, and that was unsuccessful as I still got the same marks from high school. Then my father decided to go apply to Unisa for me to study law. And it was really a blessing in disguise that my maths and my physics were not as great as I was expected. And I was introduced to a career that I absolutely love so dearly currently. I started my studies in 2017, and during my time as a student, I was involved with various organizations in and around Unisa. In my second year, I joined NADEL, which stands for National Association of Democratic Lawyers, and I was appointed as the deputy chairperson alongside the chairperson, Mr. Keswell Sambo. I later joined USA, which is the Unisa Law Student Association, in 2019.
Mr. Lebepe, it seems like you've muted yourself.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Thank you, ma'am.
So sorry, when was I muted so that I can start from where I was muted?
Let me see.
Program director.
Actually, on the first page, after you were telling us about USA, that you were deputy chairperson, just after that, you went on mute.
Oh, okay, I think that's not too far off. I'm pretty certain it was the computer just muted itself. Can I continue now? Is that
yes,
okay?
Please. Yes, please.
Okay, apologies for that. I later joined USA, which is the Unisa Law Student Association, in 2019, and I was deployed to be the Deputy Speaker for the Northeastern Limpopo Regional Student Parliament in 2021 by the President of USA, Mr. Bono Masakona, through the Chairperson of the Northeastern Limpopo region, Mr. Keswell Sambo. I may make it sound like my journey was smooth sailing or that there were no challenges along the way, and that will be an absolute lie. As with every journey, there are going to be challenges along the way, and I was no exception myself. The first hurdle was when my matric results, not getting the marks that I thought I deserved at that particular time to study what I initially wanted to study. However, I chose to view this as a redirection, and it really led me to a career I enjoy so much, and I truly believe that it is my purpose. And listen, thank God for Unisa. I got into the LLB course, and first and second year, I excelled immensely. Little did I know what was awaiting for me forward. During the duration of my LLB course, I failed 5 of my modules, and I later on had to deal with another blow. Things were not as great financially at home, and that resulted in me having to miss a full semester of my studies. I could have chosen to throw in the towel at that very moment, but it was not so much about me failing as it was more about how I chose to pick myself up and redeem myself. During my 4th year, I had followed a lot of people and social media pages that were law-related. One of the social media law-related pages encourages that law students to be specifically, should start and seek for vocational work at their local law firms. And I did exactly that. I was fortunate enough to find a firm that took me in my 4th year of studies. Mr. Nari Maubelo, who is the director of Maubelo Attorneys, allowed me to do my vocational training at his firm for 3 months. I later on completed my LLB studies, and now I proceeded to law school, where another challenge awaited me. At first try, I passed my 2 modules, but there was this one module that I struggled with, which was wills and estate. I didn't fail it once, not even twice, but only passed it the 3rd time around through a supplementary exam. Had I thrown in the towel with every challenge I encountered, I would not be here today sharing my testimony with you. I'd like to emphasize that it is not much about the failure, but it is how you pick yourself up and bounce back. Every challenge I had to overcome has added so much value to my journey and all I have achieved thus far. With Unisa being an online distance learning institution, you have so much time on your hands as a student, and you need to be able to maximize your time. It took me failing my modules to really learn this, and I hope that you don't do the same. Dedicate as much time as possible to your studies. This is also where you will need accountability partners. Share your schedule with your friends, families, and even your classmates. In this way, they will be able to call you out when you wander off and are not sticking to your schedule. It is also easy to feel alone since Unisa is an online distance learning institution and people are spread all over the country. But try to find people within your region to study and to form a study group with, because that's exactly what helped me and pushed me on days that I feel like I didn't want to study, because let's be honest, as a student, you don't feel like studying every day. Keep the important things first, and in this case, that'll be your studies. Do not, and I mean never, compromise when it comes to your studies. Ensure that in all that you do, they are top priority. It took me a few failures for me to learn this. You don't have to be like me. Yes, these are some of the things that helped me bounce back, but but one thing that stood out the most, discipline. Being disciplined. You have to be disciplined. Studying through Unisa, as with other institutions, really requires you to train and build up the discipline muscle. And with that, there is nothing stopping you from being the next Unisa success story. As I have mentioned earlier on, it is not about your failures, but what you do with your failures. With everything I encountered, I stand here today proudly graduated with 20 distinctions out of the 40 modules that the LLB degree course offers. Currently, a candidate attorney at the biggest university of the land in Africa, and the very institution I encountered a lot of failures at. I recently attained my attendance certificate at the law school, and I am currently busy studying towards my board exams. My failures did not define me, and I did not allow them to define me as well. But instead, they have added so much value to my journey and my testimony. One, I hope, inspires the next person and the youngsters that study through Unisa. As my parting words to you all, it is important to note that you cannot walk this journey alone. You need people who are going to push you, people who are going to keep you accountable, and people who might help you at a later stage in your career. Create a network for yourself. Be active in and around the institution. Join organizations like ULSA, those that are in line with your cause, and make sure that you keep an eye out to know what is happening within your institution. Academics are central, yes, but also ensure that you get involved and sharpen your soft skills. Your environment also matters. Make sure that you surround yourself with the right people, people who add value and are willing and prepared to walk this journey with you. Colleagues, I always say this, Mutu, ke motho ka batho. My name is Lebepe, and this was just a glimpse of my journey thus far. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Program Director. I think this is the perfect time for me to take questions.
Thank you, Ms. Lebepe. Yes, that is a true success story. Hence the round of applause. I hope you can see them on your screen.
Yes, I can definitely see them. Thank you so much.
Yes, students are actually showing love. You know, that they are feeling inspired and motivated. Thank you very much, ma'am. I actually have one question, one hand that I see at the moment. Nkosazana, you can ask your question. You have been unmuted. Yes, you need to unmute yourself as well.
Yes,
okay.
I have. Thank you, colleagues. Wonderful presentation, ma'am. I just want to find out a quick one. I know you spoke about attorneys doing prospective attorneys rather doing vocational training. Does this also apply to those students who want to go the advocacy route as opposed to the attorney route? Can firms in this case, I'm assuming maybe advocacy firms allow such students to undertake vocational training under the guidance of those firms run by advocates? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am, for the question. Program Director, can I answer that?
Yes, please.
I am a candidate attorney, so I'm taking the route of being an admitted attorney of the High Court. When it comes to in terms of advocate related, I think you can try and in your local origin, wherever you are situated, try and find an advocate that can actually supervise you and train you. And please remember that vocational training in most cases is voluntarily work. So don't expect to get paid. So if you can get someone that you know who is an advocate, approach them, tell them that, listen, I would like to gain some experience in regards to being an advocate. And in that manner, they'll be able to guide you. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, you have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Lebepe, because of time, I actually have a couple of questions, but let me just ask you this first one that I got from YouTube. It says, okay. May you please just inform us about 1 or 2 points regarding the Unisa Student Parliament, since it's the first time some of us are hearing about it. Thanks.
Oh, so the Unisa Student Parliament. So Unisa has different regions. So the region I'm in is the northeastern region, which consists of Limpopo and Mpumalanga. I am the one that's based in Mpumalanga. You also have the SRC. So part of the RSRC student parliament is also included. So basically, it's a parliament where we hold SRC members accountable of what they were able to do in regards to student issues throughout the year, because our term started last year and ends next year. So usually it's just being accountable on what the SRC has been able to do during their term in regards to student issues. I hope that has answered the questions.
Yes, it is quite clear. It is
Can I
clear.
say one thing?
Yes.
If they need more questions because of time, they could just follow me on my social media platforms. my name, Khopotjelebepe, and I'll be able to answer their questions when I have the time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Yes, because of time, we have to leave the legal fraternity. That was a success story by Ms. Khopotjelebepe, one of the best I've heard this year. Very inspirational. Thank you for your time, ma'am, and thank you for your participation. Let us please move on. I can see the hands. Unfortunately, I won't be able to take them at this point. We have to move on because of time. Now we're leaving the legal fraternity and going to the creative field. We have Mr. Trust Chinyama, who will be talking to us about journalism. I don't know if he is available at the moment. Trust Chinyama, are you in the house? Okay, can you just give me a moment? I just need to liaise with my technical directors. Just a moment, please. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I was struggling. I was muted here, so I'm not sure if you'd like to see my face as well, or it's fine like this.
It actually depends. Do you have a presentation for us?
I don't have a physical presentation.
Okay. No, it's fine then. You can actually speak as you are. Thank you for coming through. The stage is yours.
Okay. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me here on this lovely platform. So, creative writing and journalism. So, first and foremost, let me declare that I'm not a journalist. I've never studied journalist at all. But the journalism is within me. Why do I say that? Because I believe every person is a journalist. When you take a picture and put a selfie and put it out there on the online platform, we are already practicing the journalism aspect of it. I'm going to talk more about the publishing part, the creative aspect of what is it that it takes to be a writer. So I happened to be one of a scientific person who also explores the other side of my creativity part of it. I call it my crazy aspect of mine, because majority of people always ask me, how do you balance things of science related in nature and also parts of creative aspect, because it is regarded as an artistic view. In 2018, I wrote a short story which is entitled Ghost in the House. I entered it with the aim to participate in one of our competition, which is called Partially Reading and Writing Context. That story actually, it was a story which caused havoc, if I can put it that way, because it was outside of the framework in what was expected, but at the same time, it was also enticing to the extent that it led certain issues to be changed in the partially creative reading and writing context within the university frameworks in terms of the adjudicators, what they were supposed to do. Then I got a chance with Via Africa for my story, to my training, and to publish. So I always wanted to be a person who is doing self-publishing. One of the most important thing which majority of people in the writing fraternity or who wants to be authors is, we have ideas, we have means and ways that we want to portray or to be known. But I always say that writing is the an revealing of the other side of you that you cannot express. Your thoughts and minds, you can put it on a piece of paper and put it out there, the other side of it, which is a very powerful instrument that we can utilize to motivate someone, to educate someone in the next door. So when I got the training, I published through Smashwords. Smashwords is one of the platforms that I utilized. And as we speak, I have 2 short stories which I have there. Why is it that I'm pursuing a short story, not a novel? Is because my aim and my ambition is to see one of those short stories are making it there in the literature fraternity. Like, remember when I was doing my grade 12, we had to do short stories to answer the English literature part of it. So I want one of my stories out there to make it in the metric exams, where one of those is being analyzed, discussed. But for one to go there, it's a long journey. And the journey to become a publisher, especially a self-publisher, is actually difficult because you have to market yourself. You need a lot of dedication. And you also need to make sure that you read a whole lot of novels and books and what is it that other authors are doing out there. You also need to find out what is your niche area, what is your interest, what is it that you seek to achieve, what do you want to seek to address. So creative writing is not only about writing, but it's about portraying certain ideas to the society, ideas that are going to benefit the next person that is going to do, but in a creative way that makes people to be enticed. In our science, we always laugh about to say communicating science through writing. How do you communicate science? So that is part of the creative aspect that comes now within the journalism to make people who are not interested in reading, but they can be attracted with the way that you portray and relay yourself. So majority of the platforms that are utilized to publish, we have Amazon, which is there, we have Goodreads. So as we speak, I was fortunate enough to go with Fire Africa to make sure that my books are now available on Kindle platform through Amazon. They are there. I have recently learned that even in other platforms, like within the Chinese market, they are translating one of my short stories into the Chinese market. It is there in the Asian part of it. So those are some of the things and the journey that it takes when you are specifically interested in writing. The biggest issue is if you enter into the creative writing with the aim of making money instantly, it's something that you are actually going to be derailed because the returns, they do not come instantly. It needs time and patience. It's just like majority of the people, when you're an artistic person, you do not get the rewards instantly, but you need to persevere and to continue. But the main aim or the main drive that you are supposed to utilize should not be about the money that you are going to get, but it should be what is it that you seek to achieve and address. Is it a societal issue? Is it an academic related matter? So from that part of it, the passion will never die because you will know that you are not writing to make money out of it, but you are making an impact into somebody's life. You are promoting a certain narrative that you want. You want to be heard because writing is a powerful tool. And especially in this 21st century, we do have access to technology on our fingertips. So it is easier to write. You can utilize functions that are available. It might be on a laptop, it might be on your phone. You can actually speak what is on your mind. And then, like on Word, for example, it dictates what you are saying, it follows what you are saying. So it is easier to complete what you are doing. So those are some of the tips that I can put it out there in terms of the creative aspect of it. If you feel like you cannot type a 5,000 page type of a novel, you can talk about it and then you let the technology do the work for you. Then after that, it's always something which is good to give people to read your work and expect criticism. Some people will tell you it's not good, but you should not be derailed or to feel like people do not appreciate your work. Yes, people, they are entitled to opinions and they have to tell you that. But be mindful the first reason why you become a writer, why do you want to become an author? And by doing so, it will allow you to be in a better position and to manage each and everything that you are going to do. And it will make your life also easier as an author so that at the end of the day, what you seek to achieve within the writing context is to make your name to be known out there is to make yourself to become relevant. And there is no better footprint that you can leave than a document which bears your name, because even the generations to come are going to benefit and to read what is it that you have done. And you have created something that is a powerful instrument. It might be something within your school where you came from. You can always go and assist people through the creative aspect of it. And that is something that is decaying with the technology, because a lot of people are no longer reading much of it because it is going. So we need to bring and entice people to start to engage into the creative aspect of it, of being familiar and being interested in writing, because that is the only thing that keeps our mind sharp. That is the only thing that makes us to be in a position of making sure that the content that we read, and we have also a responsibility in the society to make sure that we always bring in new and fresh ideas through being creative. So you do not have to be someone who have studied journalism to become one. You just have to be someone who's passionate, because each and every time we write text messages, we take a picture, we go to Facebook, we utilize those things. Those are some of the things that we can utilize to make something that is proper, because journalism is involved from the past centuries, especially in the 21st century. We are seeing a whole lot of avenues. For example, we can speak about TikTok. A lot of people are utilizing TikTok to make money out of it. So you can also utilize the creative writing as a journalist part of it, just by sharing something that you like. I remember the later speaker, Kopocho, she mentioned her platforms where she is. Their platform that she utilizes to showcase a law-related activities that she is doing, and everything that she's passionate about. So that is the creative part of it. And it's also a nature of journalism, because journalism is broad. So anything that you do, you can turn your passion into a creative journalism part of it. And at the end of the day, you can make a career out of it. And with COVID, I'm pretty sure during lockdown, a lot of people turned out to be creative artists, because there was nothing much to do. The digital space became a new mining hub. I used to call it a mining hub, because almost everyone was there mining. By mining, it means when you post a content, you are claiming a land. So it's like a land right that you are claiming in the online space. So each and every one of us, we need to start to migrate into the online platform, but knowing how do you make yourself unique. You need to create content that is also enticing, that is relevant, that brings change into somebody's life. So yeah, that is my journey to me as a person, as an author, as a writer. And I thank you.
Thank you very much, my good sir. Let me see if we have any questions. That was a lovely presentation. Let's see here. Just give me a moment and see if we have any questions, maybe from YouTube. Any hands? Now, this is very unusual. No hands, no questions. Just a round of applause. Meaning you were straightforward and straight to the point, Mr. Chinyama. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you very much. Oh, before I let you go, here's a hand. There's a hand from.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wanted to say the story now just resonates with me. That you don't have to study something to actually be in that profession. My first qualification was a national diploma in electrical engineering, but then I moved into the project management field without the qualification. 9 years ago, I only got the qualification this year. So yeah, thank you for the beautiful presentation, and yeah, just it was beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Here's another hand from Maropeng. Yes, Maropeng?
Oh, hello. What am I saying? Okay, I've heard this person was saying he's an author, ne? I have written a book, but I don't have those resources, so maybe you can help with something better, I think.
Okay, thank you. By resources, do you mean money to pay someone to read your work, to edit your work, and to market for you? I'm assuming that's what you mean. But in any case, you do not need such resources. Like they are free online publishing houses that are there. One of them is Smashwords. You have iRocco, you have everything. The best editor which you can have is your circle of friends, your family. Let your work be read by someone. Majority of people want to take their way to professional and leave their friends, but your friends can actually, your colleagues, your strangers, people that you are surrounding with you, they can read up your work and they can actually advise you on how you have structured your content. After that, you can publish through Amazon, for example. You create an account and you say, I want to be a self-publishing. Then along there are so many publishing houses that are waiting for people to publish your work. You have Via Africa. Via Africa is doing wonderful things here in South Africa. They need people, young people, to come and publish for them, and then they market for you on their behalf. If your story is good, you don't have anything to do. So those are some of the things that you do not have to wait for people to you make money and then you go and put it in the shelf. You market your work on your own. You go to local libraries, you tell them, I want to be a self-publishing artist or an author. Can you please guide me with relevant people that can coach me? They are coaching leaders that are there, which are just waiting for people to come and present themselves. So you need to be the one who puts effort and say, I have wrote this, I need assistance to make it out there.
All right, thanks for the information.
Thank you for that, guys. Let me see if we have questions on our chat box. Thank you, Maelani Dipera and Maropeng. Let's see here in the chat box if you have any questions. Okay, Trust, these are questions from our YouTubers. The first one goes like this. In regards to journalism, is the creative writing still moral or ethical?
The issue of moral and ethical is neither here nor there. Why am I saying this? Because it varies based on your background, your society, or where are you stationed with. Because I can say it's morally wrong to write or to criticize about someone else, but it's ethically correct to expose people that are doing wrong. So it's an issue of a perception, what is happening within the society. So if you're in a Muslim community and you write about Christian things, then it's both morally wrong according to them, because they will feel as if you are disrespecting them. But in ethically wise, you do have the right to write what you think, what is on your view. So it's a matter of perception of what is it that where you are and what is it that people are saying. That's why I said you need to choose your audience, your target market, and then you write what you feel that it is right for your target market. Then your target market will, if they can absorb what you are doing, then you will know that what you are writing is relevant to them. Thank you.
Thank you for the Trust. Here's another one from Lisedi M. It goes like this. Could you kindly advise on the process one ought to follow when trying to publish a book?
Well, the first process that you can do is to create an account. You just, if you have a pen and paper, just say smashwords.com. So smashwords.com has instruction how you can become a self-publishing, or if you want them to assign a mentor for you, they do have a mentorship route which they do that, and it's for free of charge. The only thing which you have is your time and data from your site. So that is another easiest platform for one to become a self-publishing. Then another one, an issue which you can do is visit your nearest library that you have. They do have programs that they have to motivate people to write. If you are within, let's say, University of South Africa, Unisa is actually platforms that promote reading and writing. Where I am, we do have Eskom Pahlele as an annual event where we promote students to do that in the creative part. So those are the forums that you can join, and then from there, there are mentors that are there which will assist people to become self-publishing. Unisa Press is one of them, which it promotes students who are interested in reading and writing. So those are some of the things and where you can find yourself affiliated. So the first thing is to affiliate yourself with the relevant organizations. Thank you.
Thank you for the trust. And you actually hit two birds with one stone with that one, because you answered Takalo's question as well regarding Eskom Pahlele writing competition. And Mr. Pochopa also assisted us in answering that question on the chat box. Thank you very much, sir. Now, because of time, now we are running behind. Mr. Truster, thank you very much for your time and for a very informative session. I know a lot of our students have grasped a lot from what you just told us and from what you just presented. And thank you for your participation, sir. Thank you very much. As we move on with our program, we are now going to research and innovation. We have a Mr. Mbuso Ngongo, who will be our next presenter. Mr. Ngongo, are you here? Oh, Mr. Mbuso Ngongo. Let us just give him a few minutes to connect. Just a few moments. Thank you for your patience, guys. Thank you.
Hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hear me? And can you see me?
Yes, now we can. Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Let me know when you can see my screen.
Okay, I'll let you know. Mr. Ngongo?
Yes, sir. Please let me know when you can see my screen. I'm trying to share my screen.
No problem. It's still blank. I will let you know.
Because I think okay, I'm just gonna have to switch the device.
Okay. Let's just give Mr. Ngongo a few moments to reconnect again. I see he's having technical challenges, but he will come through. Let's just give him a moment, please. Thank you.
Okay, can you share from your side, Sharon?
Mr. Ngongo?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes.
Sharon was able to project.
Yes.
But yes, but we have a concern, man. Where you are, it's a bit noisy. I don't know if maybe you'll have to move around or.
Does it get better if I come closer?
No, there's people talking in the background.
Yes.
Actually.
Okay. Sorry, sir.
That's where we are. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Has the noise would have subsided by now.
Yes, it's much better. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Yeah, as a way of innovation, I decided to practice something different. I'm actually connecting to you live from Protea Glen, where I've got practitioners in the Early Childhood Development Center. So we are conducting this in a hybrid format. So here we go, without wasting any further ado. Let's go. I'm asked to speak about the success stories in relation to research and innovation. So if I go, can we go next?
It's noted.
Please, yeah, if the operator can then go to the next slide. So what I will then do, yeah, I'm unable to operate it from where I am. So please, if you can go to the next slide. Thank you very much. So
let's just give Sharon a moment. I have a feeling she's having challenges. Let's just give her a moment.
Yes, sure. Yeah, okay. But yeah, what I'm asked to speak about is research and innovation success stories. And so I will speak about what it is, what innovation is, and when do we innovate, who innovates, and why do they innovate? What is it that it is, and how does it happen? So here we go. By way of a definition, innovation is really the introduction of new things, new ways of doing something. That's what it is. I really want to, for the purpose of this presentation, to call it problem solving. And because I'm asked to tell stories, I will tell you the most popular story, the story of a coat hanger. The coat hanger is probably one of the most popular innovations that have ever seen the light of the day. It was invented, the version that we know today was invented by a Parkhouse in 1903. And when he walked into the office, he found that there is no space to hang his coat. That was a problem for him. And then he took a piece of wire, he bent it, and producing what we now call the coat hanger. He hung his coat. So we see three things there. He had a problem, he solved the problem, he tried it, he saw that it works, and then let's go next. That is story number one. Story number two, in 1967, a gentleman by the name of Robert, found that it was quite annoying for wipers to be wiping when there's no rain. Sometimes you get rain and then you get drizzling rain, where little rain is coming, and therefore it makes a horrible noise on the wiper rubbing on the screen. So he found that quite disturbing, and in fact he found that ruining the windscreen and reducing the lifespan of a wiper. He identified a problem, and therefore he found a way. He said, no, if I can make this thing pause a bit, when it pauses, the rain accumulates, water accumulates on the glass, and then of course it can continue again. So that invention was taken up by Ford and Chrysler, and you can look up the story. There's a story that goes with it, but the wipers that we know today, almost every car has got wipers that are intermittent, that have got a pausing moment. Right, now let me tell you my story about my innovation. In 2020, I was locked down with 3-year-old kids, and I found that I could not get any tools to be able to teach them, toys. Everyone shut down, no shops, no buying, nothing. And I developed, ground up tools, toys, methods to be able to do so. I signed up with Early Childhood Development short course, and I was busy with my, Bachelor of Science at the University of South Africa, studying computer science and programming. So I thought with that, I can be able to program the minds of the children. And today I'm piloting a project with the city of Johannesburg. And as I said to you, we are talking to you live with a number of practitioners that we are here today. Right, and before making any movement, I did a bit of a study in which I looked at the societal challenges, the impact of the societal challenges on the public education sector in South Africa in the past decade. And what I found was quite disturbing. I found what I termed the DIP3C. The DIP3C being digital divide, inequality, poverty, and the three C's being the crime, corruption, and the COVID-19. Those are the factors that I have found that had negative impact on the public education system, resulting in the situation that we find ourselves today. By saying I'm saving a few minutes. Now, I have since put together a team comprising of myself and a social worker, as well as an educator and a BCom graduate students. Together, we have come together to bring you Umbalabala. We are also supported by up to 44 volunteers, and I'm sure that's about to go up today. Comprising of caregivers from different ECDs, comprising of youth, parents, and grandparents. We have also, we are putting together what we call Umbalabala, where Umbala is a color, Umbala is to count, and Ibala is a space. It makes sense, therefore, to bring all that together, to put together in a toolkit designed for assessment, learning, and teaching. I tried this on the side of the road where street kids live. And, in Durban, I was able to give this to children to play these games and these things that we were doing. And the results were incredible. So much that parents started bringing their children, more and more children, and we ended up using the space at the Botanical Garden to be able to have a more open space, because remember, it was post-COVID, but we still had to comply. And in the process, we impacted with 526 children in KZN, as well as interacted with 243 parents and the 44 volunteers. And the results were incredible. You find that the control group, which had not taken part in the study, remained only knowing the three basic shapes, but the groups that took part in this between the ages of 3 and 9, we found that they were able to learn up to 9 shapes, including very complex shapes such as the hexagon, and as well as making a distinction between the right angle triangle and a normal triangle. We also found that their counting ability was raised beyond what the expectation at that particular level. We also introduced our very own test, the ZYX test, where we're able to teach them, to do ZYX, WVU, TSR, QPOM, MLK, KGIH, GFE, TCBA. And in the process, we exposed this to a number of competitions to see, really, to get the opinions of the experts to be able to improve our offering. And we took it to the University of South Africa, which we competed in that. And by doing so, we won a competition there. And also, we are now supported proudly by the Moses Kotane Institute, by the city of Johannesburg, as I mentioned, and of course the University of Basel, Switzerland. I will mention that very recently in March, I was taken to represent the entrepreneurial students at the University of South Africa in Rwanda, where I then was able to compete, and by exposing this we have developed, where we now receive the support by the Switzerland government. So we are part of a Blue Ocean strategy, another competition which is currently happening as we speak right now, and their innovation is continuing. I'm very proud to say one of the things we are piloting right now is the ability to be able to write exams without internet connection, including the toolkit that we are currently piloting. We have, I've mentioned the awards that have since been received, giving an indication that what we are offering is actually quite innovative. Right, so I think by now I have addressed the question of, what is innovation? I've defined what it is, and in my view, it is really nothing but problem solving. But why do we problem solve? We solve to address a need. So if you really remember the coat hanger, you will remember that there was a problem, the guy had a problem, and then he found a way to solve the problem, and then he looked at whether this is working. So he was happy that the results were what he wanted. So, and who innovates really? And I want to say that anyone innovates. If I can innovate, then you can innovate. Anyone can innovate, and more so the children. Anyone who has a problem, if you have a problem, you must be very grateful because you have got an opportunity to solve that problem. And when you do so, you have the opportunity to innovate because your problem is not unique. That problem that you have, someone else has it. But now if you solve it, you have saved their time. They can now buy your product instead of going to go all the way that you have done to solve your problem. And I want to encourage you when you engage in the process of innovation to expose what your thoughts. Don't fail yourself and say, no, this is not a good idea. No, no one is going to buy this. No. Take it up there. They will say, they can only say yes or no. And, there are platforms at the University of South Africa, including the Innovation Challenge, which happens annually, when one can take it to, especially the students of the University of South Africa, as well as the EDHE InterVarsity, which is a competition that combines all the 26 institutions, universities in South Africa. There are also other external providers that you can go to be able to have opinions about your offering. So my takeaway, 5 takeaways, I'm giving you 5 things for free. And the very first thing is in order for you to be innovative, you have to pay attention. You have to really pay attention. Look at people, look at them. When they do things, look at them. Why are they doing it like this? Is there not another way? Talk to them, ask them, why are you doing it like this? Can you not do it better than that? Is there an easier way? Why, have you tried any other thing? Talk to them, and that is why I'm here today, to talk to the practitioners at the ECD space to say, here is what are your challenges? And maybe we might be able to solve 1 or 2 of them. And then, of course, solve problems. Try. And by solving problems, you are innovating, and do it all the time. Don't be afraid. Do it all the time. Just do it. And the next one will be of service. Try and help someone. Help them. Don't expect that I want to do this only because I want to sell it and I want to get money. No, do it. Half the time you will not get paid. It's okay. Do it. Be of service to someone. You will die peacefully. And then, of course, you have to believe that you can. You just have to believe that you can. That no must go away. You must believe that I can do this. There is a problem. This problem I'm faced with, I am equal to the task and I can solve it. And of course, don't do everything alone. Give others a chance to help you. Other people out there are waiting for you to make the first move, and they are ready to support you. They are willing to support you. Give them a chance to help you. And when you say thank you, you are extending their lives. When they say thank you, they are extending your lives. It's gratitude. With that, I have come to the end of the presentation, which has been very interesting for me, and I hope I have been audible. and I have now reached the end of it. We may not solve every problem. I hope I have shown you how innovation is part of our lives and will remain so for the rest of eternity.
Thank you, Mr. Ngongo. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. I know that most of our students are actually enjoying your enthusiasm and everything that you do there, especially the work that you do. I, for one, am happy to be in a space with someone who does what you do. Now, unfortunately, because of time, my good sir, we actually don't have time for questions, because I do have a couple of questions on the chat box. However, I'll just slot this one in because I believe it can actually help this person right now. He says, I'm also in Protea Glen. May you please share the location and maybe we could attend the innovation space. Thanks. This is Aram Pasele.
Okay, we are just behind the mall in Protea Glen. Can someone else help me with it? Someone wants to know where we are so they could attend, but we are just behind the mall. I suppose if my number is there, you just send me a message, then we will be able to connect with you. We'll be able to welcome you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Nomo.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm hoping Aram Pasele is seeing this on the screen, so you can actually contact Mr. Ngongo and join them there by the Protea Glen Mall. Thank you very much. Now, because of time, we have to move on. Thank you, Menir. Okay, our program, we actually left with one guest speaker. We actually have two people. We have a Pinky Mukwena and a Masabata Rakotule, who are financial advisors from Standard Bank. They'll be giving us financial advice for the day. I hope they are in the room so they can start with their presentations. Miss Pinky and Miss Masabata.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. And thank you so much for the invitation as well. I'm highly honored. So I will not take much of the time because it's two speakers. I just want to be brief and straight to the point as well. Okay, my name is Pinky Mukwena. I'm a banker by profession. I do have a title, say it's prestige banker. I normally deal with professionals, the likes of, yes, the student that we have here, even the lecturers or all the highly esteemed guests as well. Sorry, can everybody hear me? I'm sorry. I don't know. I think my network is troubling me.
Yes, we can, ma'am. Thank you.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, my apologies. Yeah.
No problem.
Basically, what I do on a daily basis to help people to manage their finances. Because after we've become these successful people, successful lawyers, successful directors, you need to manage your finances, because if you don't manage that part, it becomes a problem. And why do you actually need to manage your finances is actually, one is able to make better financial decisions. They can manage their money effective and their debt as well. And besides, it gives you financial freedom and less anxiety, less financial stress, of which at this moment, that's what we see most people are currently facing because of what we've been through with COVID and with everything that's still going up and prices are increasing everything. So financial literacy is not that deep and it's not that complex. However, if you don't have the right conversation with the right people, it can be a problem. I normally see, when I see my clients on a daily basis, they'll explain that it's not even a matter of earning too much money. It's a matter of managing whatever little I have or that much that I have. And you'll be surprised that you actually expect people to know how to manage their finances. However, it's not that an easy option when it comes to somebody who have never financial literacy or background of knowing how to handle their finances. I don't want to start talking about the product that I normally do on a daily basis. So what I'm saying is that I have my colleague here next to me, so she'll also say a part. If you do need any further claim to clarify or clarity, you can just contact us at with Standard Bank. And I'll also drop my contact details as well. I do grant the director to use my details as well so that people can be able to contact me. And if they do have questions, I'm more than willing to answer those questions. Thank you.
How's Pinky?
Yes,
before you allow Mas Sabata to come through, if it's okay with you, because of the POPI Act, sharing contact details and confidential information has become a very tedious process. You, however, if you are doing it voluntarily, you can just type them in the chat box so all the attendees can actually see them, if it's okay with you.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
I'll definitely do that. I'll drop my email address so it's easier. So because I don't want that much, because as soon as you drop your cell phone number, now you'll never have peace. But I'll drop my email address so that whoever needs to contact me, I'm more than willing to actually answer those questions and be able to answer. Even if it's face to face, we can be able to talk and so okay, come through so that we can be able to discuss further. Finance is very important, and if it's not handled properly, that's when I normally see it's the root cause of other problems in many situations.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Masavata. I am a financial planner here. I'm a colleague to Pinky. Basically, we do with financial planning. We assist people with financial literacy, apparently. How can you manage your finance? How can you enjoy your income? Because you get the income in a different ways. There's different sources of income. It can be from the salary. It can be from the company. Maybe you're a director or you are owner of the company. And then it is very crucial how you spend that money. So the advice is that better save more than you spend. And then as a professional, even if you want to be the director or the entrepreneur or the company owner, at some point you start by building up in order for you to get to achieve that goal. And then you get a job, you get an income, and then how do you manage your finances after that? And then when you spend less and then you save more, it is easy for you to achieve what you want to achieve. And again, plan your budget and work on your plan on a monthly basis. You cannot afford to do everything at once. Set yourself a goal, maybe quarterly, maybe half a yearly, maybe on an annual basis, to say this year or this quarter, I want to achieve 1, 2, 3. Then you know that this is my goal. I'm going to achieve it. And then after that, you go to another plan. If you fail, you can always plan again. Planning is a continuous thing. If the first or the A plan didn't work, then you always come up with a plan B in order for you to achieve at the end of the day what you wanted to achieve. And then when you minimize your debts, and the advice is that do not want to do everything on debt. There are smaller things that you can do out of your pocket, out of your income on a monthly basis. You can buy a TV. A TV, it is 5,000, 11,000. Base and mattress, those things are the things that you can afford to buy them in cash. But when coming to debts, we're looking at the bigger things like vehicles, like properties, and then those ones, that is when you need to plan. And then when you buy a property, you're going to need the money funds for you to pay for the registrations for the attorneys and blah, 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 blah. So that's why I am saying it is better to save than you spend, because when you save, the time or the minute you want to reach the next step of your life, then you know that you have funds. Now I'm planning to buy a property. I have this amount. I can be able to pay the attorneys or the registration out of that, instead of now applying for a higher bond so that it can cater for all other expenses that are in line with what you want to achieve. And then the second thing, it is that when you start to work, start to save immediately or start to invest immediately, so that when you celebrate your anniversaries, let's say you are now on a third year, it's your third year or it's a fifth year. So you know that, okay, I was saving so much on a monthly basis. Now I'm celebrating my 5 years starting since I've started to work. And then from there, I have so much as well in my savings account, in my investment, so that you can enjoy, you can spoil yourself, you can go to oversee. It is so nice, guys. It is so very nice and enjoyable when you have money. And people start to recognize you and to listen to you and respect you. Our parents did not have this opportunity whereby they never got the opportunity to get a financial planning. They were just living and spending money and misusing and doing whatever. But you are so fortunate because these things are happening right here and they are accessible anytime, anywhere. So by so doing, my advice again, it is that when you have money, no matter how little or young you are, the elder people, they will listen to you because you don't just talk, you don't give instruction on their money. No one will want to listen to somebody on my expense. I will not do that myself. So for you to give yourself that dignity, to give yourself that respect, that so that people can know that, okay, we know that Auntie Sabi, when she gets here, she'll contribute 1, 2, 3, and then she will also ask so and so contribute this much, but you cannot say somebody contribute so much, whereas you yourself don't have money. No one will want somebody to dictate your money. Okay, Pinky, do you want to say something?
No, I also wanted to highlight on the very same note as well that as much as we're speaking to young people as well, that the aim is to say, do not be debt bound. However, with the people that we know that they've actually had maybe some bad decisions that have done in the past, yes, it's possible that you can be able to be financially free. We can be able to assist. There are certain things that we can be able to help you. Some of the solutions is not because you have to actually consult that counseling, everything. It's within your means. You can be able to do certain things. One of the speakers alluded earlier on to say that discipline, it also works in the financial situation as well. Discipline. There's no point of you drawing that budget and then at the end of the day, you don't follow it. So do come so that we can sit maybe with you into a one-on-one, then see your situation, because it's not an umbrella situation where it's one size fits all. Customers have different needs. So it's always very important that one comes and consult, and then we can be able to help you according to your situation as well. And yes, we do have student loans as well. There are those people actually that are working, however, maybe it's not enough for them to be able to pay for their fees. We do have other solutions that can be able to help. You find people that they are driven, however, they want to acquire certain things, but because they think finance can be a problem for their situation, it's not the case. Do come through. Let's have a consultation that we can see that you can. Masabata did say some of people are not that privileged from privileged background where they have money. You are the one who's going to be the breadfruit for your family. You are the one who's going to build that wealth, that legacy. It's in your hands. You need to start that into a legacy.
Okay, thank you, Pinky. To add on that, I wanted also to say, even if you have a credit card, do not get a credit card for the sake of having it and spending money. Have a credit card so that it is easy for you when you want to travel to overseas, then you get free insurance and then you are able to do the purchase when you get there. Not that now you are a slave of debts. And then as well, if you look at how our market, on our current market, so we are facing the financial uncertainty or the market performance uncertainty. So it is very crucial, guys, for us to make sure that we minimize the cost, because your income is your security at the moment for now, because you are able to work. And then you cannot predict future. You don't know what will happen in future. You can become critically sick, and then you must secure yourself for that. And then when you retire, we have pre-retirement planning. Then again, you plan for retirement. You plan when you start a family. When you start a family and then you already in debt, do you think you'll enjoy a family, having a family, or you enjoy being married? Then you come up with a stress already, and then you're gonna cause somebody a stress on top of that. So it is very crucial that we manage our finances, we get the information as much as possible from whoever, whereby we can get the financial information, the financial literacy. Ask whoever, have a mentor, have a financial planner, visit your bank, visit whoever, and then we again learn from our elders. There are those who are financially disciplined that we see, and then we are able to approach. How did you achieve 1, 2, 3? Because I can see that so far your life went smoothly, and then you managed to achieve 1, 2, 3, as we are coming from the different background. So that's all from me for today, guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much as well from Pinky.
Thanks a lot, ladies.
If there's any question that we can be able to take, I'm sure if there's still time, we can be able to do so. However, they can just drop on the chat. Maybe can try and answer those questions as well.
Thank you for that, Pinky. Let us check on the chat box. If there are any questions, just give me a moment. Okay, one of the questions from Pashala R has been answered. Okay, nothing on the chat box. Let's see if there's any hands. I see that Marupeng's hand is up. I don't know if it's historic. It's an historical hand, or you just raised it now. Marupeng?
No, it's a historic.
Oh, okay. Thank you, ma'am. Aus Pinky and Aus Masabata, I don't think there's any questions at the moment, but simply because you dropped your contact details on the chat box, I know that you will be getting questions very soon, even before the end of this program. I guess our students are comfortable knowing that they will be able to contact you whenever they want to. This one is historic. It's from Marupeng.
Oh, okay.
Unless if you can see it now. Can you see it now?
There's still one hand. I'm unable to see who's the Tsegofatso Ledwin. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Tsegofatso, you can ask your question. I actually can't see it here. I wonder. Tsegofatso. Sharon?
Yes, Manabisi.
Can you see Tsegofatso's hand?
Yes, I actually just disabled her mic. She needs to unmute herself.
Oh, okay. Thank you for the channel. Yes, Tekhovatso. Yes, you're unmuted.
Oh yes, hi guys. How are you?
We're good on you, Tekhovatso.
I'm alright, thanks. As I've been listening to the whole seminar, I do have a couple of questions. I've just amalgamated everything that I've learned throughout, and let me just try to be as brief as I can be. Can you still hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes,
Okay. Yes, we spoke of the fourth industrial revolution, but I believe we are moving towards the fifth industrial revolution. And what I mean by that is that there's talks of artificial intelligence, and it's more apparent now than ever before. Let's talk about social media, for instance. There is a lot of there's an algorithm basically on all social media platforms that actually allows the applications and the software to actually gauge your level of interest and whatsoever, so that they can give you what you might like or what you like, in terms of your interest. Now, my biggest concern right now has to do with socio-economical factors. As we were talking about technology, socioeconomic divides, and so forth and so forth. I would like to understand that about investment opportunities, because right now, if you can check, okay, we have a lot of economical factors that are affecting our whole economy. That's fine, but how does one move away from the governmental sectors and move directly into the economical sector, where one can engage with it in a more personal, professional manner, to engage and invest in it? Because if I have to wait for a helping hand from the government, we know that's not going to work out. But there are systems that are available from the government, yes, but they are insufficient because we are so many.
Thank you for your question, Tseho. I think this one is actually directed to Mr. Bohopa. I don't know if he's still available here. Let me just check. Sharon, can you please check if Mr. Bohopa is still available? I'm using my phone. I can't see properly.
Attend another meeting.
Or he's actually in another meeting.
All right.
Because I think this question was actually relevant to him. It's just that Utseho came through a bit late after Mr. Bohopa's presentation, because he's the one who was actually addressing the issues that you're talking about, Tseho.
I was actually there, but he didn't have enough time to
actually answer the questions. I don't know if maybe he dropped his contact details on the chat box.
I have not seen them, but no,
you haven't. Okay, yeah. Okay. This is my request to you, Tseho. Please just drop your question on the chat box. Then we'll make sure that it reaches him so he can get back to you. Is that okay?
All right. I have just one last question, if you don't mind. Directed to Pinky. I would like to know about the investment platforms that one can engage with, because nowadays we have a lot of, this hype about forex trading and whatsoever. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in those ones, the real ones that actually make the real tangible money, that they're quite expensive, yes, quite costly. But I believe with the right knowledge, right background knowledge, one can get into those markets, those platforms, and actually engage with it. Because now they are saturated by multimillionaires and other important rich people out there. But how does one actually get there?
Okay. Thank you so much for the question, Sekhofatso. Yes, the market is saturated. However, like we explained earlier, we deal with a per client basis, because remember, your appetite may not necessarily be the other person's appetite. We start off by understanding what are your intentions? What are you trying to do? Is there a goal that you're trying to achieve, or what are your intentions? What are you trying to get from your investment? Because not everybody will have maybe a lump sum to say, okay, Pinky, I'm here with 100,000 that I want to invest maybe for a couple of years and see if I can get maybe capital interest, or I can be able to earn something out of it. Yes, we have long-term, and we have short terms as well. It depends on the budget as well of how much you have. And I'm glad for that question as well, Tsegofatso, because people always have this narrative that the only time that you can start maybe saving is that you have to have a lump sum. It doesn't necessarily actually have to work that way. Even with that little, you can start off even from 250 Tsegofatso, you can be able to save. You can start from 5,000. You can start from 50,000. There is a product that can be able to match your needs or your expectation, and then obviously working towards a certain goal. Yes, we have those people who are lucky enough to actually say that I have maybe a lump sum that I can be able to put away, and maybe this is how much I want to put, and this is how long. Because remember what I said, long-term one, we can even have. I have something that I can offer you on my side. Masabata also have something on her because she's working from the financial point of view, and they deal with market that are risk market, because remember we have relaxed market and we have guaranteed capitals. We also have high risk as well. It depends. The young people, they still have enough time, enough energy, and enough funds to be able to tap into those high risk markets. Whereas if somebody's maybe it's a bit, she or he, they're a bit old, they want to deal with something that is consecutive, because remember the time is not there and they don't want to take any risks that are not calculated as well. So please utilize those details that I've sent so that at least we can have a one-on-one session and I can try to understand from your point of view. And I'm hoping to share better insight that at least by the time we are done with our conversation, you are in a position that you know and that you can be able to enter those markets. I hope I answered your question, Tsegofatso.
Yes, you have. Thank you so much. I will engage with you shortly.
Definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Is there any more questions?
Oh, that is all from me. Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I might have one for you, Pinky.
So I didn't catch that one, Mabis.
I'm saying I might have one for you, because there's this term that I usually hear about, compound interest. What is compound interest?
Okay, compound interest. There's a way that I normally say to my elder people in my native language. I always say, meaning you earn interest on top of interest. Because remember, when it comes to interest, customers have options of saying, I want to, and that interest needs to be paid into my dedicated account or selective account where I can be able to utilize it after I have earned it. You have those customers that say, but I want to earn more, because the advantage of it is that if it's money that you have needing the money or you're not utilizing it, put it into a compound interest, because you're not earning the same amount of interest on a monthly basis. Because if you've earned maybe this amount this month, next time it's more, it's now your capital with the interest that you've earned for July, and now it's going to be more for August. So every month you earn a little bit extra. Whereas when you're taking out your interest to a certain account, that means your interest is going to be it's flat. It's flat rate, because it's that way. It's only the only time that will be different when it comes to the days, because remember the interest, as much as we can say it's 5%, it's calculated daily. It's calculated per annum but counted daily. I don't know if it makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. It's just that now I just want to understand, who gets this compound interest? Let's say, for instance, I buy a unit trust, maybe from Standard Bank, right? So does that automatically mean that I get compound interest, or is there a requirement that maybe I need to make a short-term or long-term investment? Maybe it has to be above 5, 7, 10 years. Is there maybe a threshold or something when it comes to compounding interest? Like, how would I qualify? Like, how would my investment qualify?
Okay, let me explain into this. Masabata's going to explain on her side, because remember, the bank is vast. We have different types of accounts that I cater and she caters. From my point, the one that I caters, there's no threshold and there's no certain customers that are chosen per se. It's your choice, a customer. We will ask you, do you want to earn interest on a monthly basis? Obviously, you'll choose a day, or you want compound interest. So you have a choice as a customer. So that's my side. That's piece I cater. So Masabata's going to answer on her side that she caters as well.
Okay, Mnabisi, the compound, let's say you invest for 2 years or more. Yes. And remember, the interest is calculated per annum. So it means whatever you accumulated on the first year, it will go on a second year. It is now your original or your original capital plus the interest accumulated on the first year. Okay. So it is now a compound because now it's the original capital together with the interest accumulated on the first year. Now on a second year, it is plus that accumulated interest. Do I make sense?
Perfect sense. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Osma Sabata. Let me see if there's any more hands or any more questions. You see from the chat box, how does one propositions? This is for Mr. Bufopa. For compound interest to clients. Okay. I have a feeling these are the same question that I just asked. What type of investment account does Standard Bank cater for compound interest to clients?
We have so many. We have the unit trust, like you mentioned. We have the fixed deposit. We have the money market, call account, and money market select. There are so many. It depends on your needs. Like Pinky mentioned earlier on, that we have different tastes and then we have different goals. So, yeah.
Thank you for that. I know it answered. To all our students, everyone who is actually in here, and our colleagues, we can actually contact Pinky and Osma Sabata on their email addresses. They've posted in there on the chat box. Because of time, we actually run out of time when it comes to questions directed at them. Now it's time for us to do our evaluation of the whole program. I know it sounds unfair, the fact that you can't actually ask as many questions as you like, but at least all our speakers, they've given you their contact information so you can be able to contact them at your leisure. My colleague is going to post the evaluation polls now in just a moment. So as Dr. Pitone alluded earlier when we started with the program, that we actually posted these evaluation questions to you for you to give us an honest reflection of what happened today. We need honest feedback so we can improve on the services that we give to you. You understand? So obviously, it is best to ask you as our students, the people who do attend these workshops, as to what is it that you like about it and what is it that you do not like about it. Is there anything else maybe you would like for us to add the next time when we're hosting this workshop? Because we are hosting these kind of workshops annually. It's there every year. You understand? So obviously, if maybe there is something that you wanted to find out about today that you unfortunately we didn't have time for, you can actually inform us by filling in on the questions and telling us exactly what you need from us. So we'll make sure that we make it available to you the next time around. The first question is out already. I'll just give you plus minus 5 to 6 minutes to actually entertain the questions. Then we'll move to what's next on the program. Thank you. I can see the first question is done. We are now on the second one. Is it all these questions actually in the chat box? We are now on question number 2. Were the presenters able to clarify questions and uncertainties? Then you actually choose your option. The responses are actually increasing. It's a very good number. Okay, we now move to the third question. Please rate the overall quality of this workshop. The number of responses is going up. That's a good sign. And remember, you're actually responding anonymously. So feel free. Now this question number 4. Now we're on 5. And especially this one that says, that asks, what else would you like to learn more about? I mean, it's like we're giving you a platform to tell us exactly what you want us to present to you. So I believe it is a crucial question to answer. Then we have preference of attending workshops. As you see the responses that you actually typing on the chat box, you're actually supposed to be answering the poll questions with them. Because we are going to compile everything on the poll responses and do our best to implement. So if you're going to put only on the chat box, it's not going to help anyone, to be honest. Okay, I actually added extra few minutes for this session. Okay. Here's another question. Any other comments or suggestions? You see where it says put your answer here. That's where you type in what you need us to know. Then you just send, you submit actually. Then it will come to us. Okay, let's just give it a few minutes. It is noted the para M. I can see the responses are still coming through. Sharon, tell me, do we have another one after number 6?
No, May. This is actually the last question.
Thank you very much, Sharon. I appreciate it. Okay, we have come to the conclusion of our program. I have a colleague of mine who's one of our student counselors from VAL, who will be giving a vote of thanks to everyone in here. But before I let you guys go, I personally would like to thank everyone who came through, everyone who participated, and to all our guest speakers for answering the questions that our students had, and for preparing all the presentations, gathering all the information. It's highly appreciated. And for actually sticking to my program and listening to my instructions. I know some were somewhat, but you actually came through and you gave me full cooperation and complied. So I truly appreciate it. I'm hoping the next time we meet, you'll have the same, you'll give me the same treatment. I appreciate it. Let me call on Ms. Lipale, our student counselor from the VAL, to close and give a vote of thanks to everyone in here. Nemasarame.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. What a lineup. However, on behalf of Unisa Gauteng Counselling Unit, I would like to thank all the presenters for their excellent presentations. Thank you for taking your time in your busy schedule to be our guest speakers in our young professional seminar. This was for the benefit of our students. Thank you once more. I will start with Ms. Molapo. Thank you so much for being such an inspiring, motivational speaker. And thank you for reminding us that in order to meet today's work demand, we need to equip and sharpen our digital and entrepreneurial skills. Thank you, madam. Mr. Bohupa, in absentia, thank you for motivating us, showing us that we can go very far with the digital and the technological skills that we have and that we have learned. And in this fourth industrial revolution, we really need to sharpen our skills. We can create a job out of the digital skills that we have. Thank you so much. In absentia, Mr. Bohopa. Then I'll go to Ms. Lebebe. Thank you, Ms. Lebebe, for sharing with us your success story. Indeed, it was inspirational. Hope our students have taken a word or two that for one to be successful, you have to be disciplined, you have to be dedicated, you have to prioritize your time. Thank you so much, madam. Thank you, Mr. Makwakwa, for increasing our passion in writing. Thank you for reminding us that you have to be creative when you are a writer. Writing is an art. Thank you for encouraging our students to read and to read and to read and to read even novels. Thank you so much. And thank you for bringing forth the organizations which they can communicate with in order to publish whatever piece of writing we have. Thank you, Mr. And then thank you, Mr. Ngongo. Thank you for sharing with us that for one to solve a problem, one must be creative. It means as a researcher, you have to be creative. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to see the innovation coming forward where one can write an exam without being connected to a network. We have taken away so many takeaways from you, and it shows that people must think deep and out of the box. Thank you, Mr. Ngogo. And thank you, Ms. Mokwena. Thank you, Ms. Rakotule. I thank you so much. I thank both of you for indicating to us the financial or for advising us financially. It is very, very important to when you have a small amount of money and know how to make use of it. Thank you so much. We must set as ourselves goals so that we don't waste. We must know that we have to budget in order to buy something. Thank you so much. We'll keep on saving and we'll do away with unnecessary planning, unnecessary spending. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And thank you, Miss Lala Diksha, for such a warm welcome. Thank you, Dr. Pizwani, our line manager, for laying the foundation on how this young professional event has started, or it has came into being. This shows us that no matter how difficult your study journey can be in an ODEL institution, you can still make it. Forge up, be disciplined, be dedicated, be focused, and prioritize your studies. Program Director, thank you so much for running this program so well, Mr. May. We are exactly on time. Only 5 minutes, I think, that we have wasted, but otherwise, thank you. It was for a good cause. Our students, our clients, our customers, hope you have taken a lot of takeaways with you. Thank you for interacting and participating with our guest speakers. Fellow colleagues, within and outside Gauteng, thank you for joining in. Thank you for your support. And lastly, I would like to thank the Gauteng Counselling team, the technical team, those who have been working behind the scene. We know very well that you were not sleeping to ensure that this workshop becomes a success. Thank you. Your hard work, your commitment is highly noticed. Thank you. And I hope I have covered everybody. If I didn't cover you, please take it as a mistake, but thank you to you. Over to you, Program Director.
Thank you, Member Sarame. Thank you very much, Ma'am. We actually forgot someone that I will mention now, because what happened initially, we were supposed to have a Mr. Makwakwa, but we ended up getting Trust Chinyama. So Trust, thank you very much for coming through, especially at the last minute, and educating us with everything that you did as a creative. You know, thank you very much. We appreciate your participation in our event. Like Mema Sarami said, we appreciate everything that's been done by everyone who's here. There is full cooperation from the attendees and the lovely presentations from our guest speakers and presenters. And one more thing is I'd like to thank my team, my technical producers, that is from Sharon to everyone behind Bomahlati and everyone, you know, thank you very much, guys. I'm hoping to see everyone here in our next workshop next week. Yeah, and please do not forget, there's a career fair coming through now in August. The dates should be on the counseling site. If you just play around our website, you'll be able to see the relevant dates for career fair. Now, though, for those who have attended career fair before, they know that it is very beneficial to especially to final year students like yourselves. Yeah. With that being said, thank you for your time and have a lovely day further. The event is now done and we closing the show. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.